Yeah, so I think that you kind of laid out the title, the Titanic effect, and so that you're drawing some parallels there between the issues that startups face when they launch and navigating the seas there. Um, I know that the book kind of has a framework with is it 32
Yeah,
different
Yeah.
um, 32 different points of in the
iceberg.
framework to look at. Yeah. But are there a few that you would maybe highlight that are of particular relevance during this particular time as being the most common sources of failure in your experience?
I'll pull one out of the marketing ocean, which is actually Kim's area of expertise. But I think one of the challenges that startups face is the value void, that they think they can solve a problem for the customer, but they don't either fully understand that problem or can't articulate the value that they provide. And we're seeing a lot of businesses, both essential but particularly non-essential, really struggle with that. How do we create value for all of our constituents, but particularly our customers? How do we connect with them, re-engage with them in new and different ways? So very simple ones, obviously, are things like restaurants who can deliver food or have takeout and set that up in a nice, seamless way. But I think a lot of even non-tourism related, non-restaurant related businesses are struggling with that. And I think the lessons from the chapter, and Kim can fill in some of the gaps here, but kind of being empathetic, understanding the job you're doing for your customer, particularly in today's environment, and how you can pivot or add functionality that makes it easier for them to survive and thrive during this time is something that is very important. Certainly something we're trying to do with our students and our colleagues. And I know a lot of teachers out there are being forced to do that.
Yeah, so I think one of the biggest examples of that is simply, a lot of small businesses have not been very tech friendly or e-commerce friendly. And so now, I'm watching one Mexican restaurant here posting on Facebook, we'll sell you 40-ounce margaritas to go. You have to drive over here. You have to get out of your car, give us your money, and then you can take the margaritas with you. Not really understanding where their customers are coming from at this point in time. What they want to do is they want to go online and place an order and have you run it out to their trunk, and they don't have to get out of their car. So rethinking how you create value, and if you create value. I mean, one of the things we're seeing with a number of startups is that they've got some really interesting, innovative ideas, but people don't have time for them now. I mean, there's the pain point that they feel is not really important right now. And so what do you do? What do you do with your salespeople? You have pay them to make fun videos? I mean, yes, that's a different way of thinking about value, right? But I saw one startup that I thought was pretty clever. Now they are an online training platform for employers for like onboarding and training people. And now being online, that's like totally amazingly relevant. And so I'm sure they're very busy. But one of the things they did is they put together little customer care packages, called up their customers and asked them, "Hey, can we mail this to your house? Give us your house address." And then they thought about, they had 3 different varieties. Like one was a game, one was cocktails, one was, I think, like bath salts. With all their branding and all their messaging and saying, hey, we're here for you and do what you need and let us know how we can help. So rethinking how you add value to customers, I think is a really important time. And I think for those businesses who aren't really busy right now, this is an incredible exercise to go through. Ask yourselves, go ask your customers, how do you want us to add value? What problems can we better solve for you? What ways didn't we not think of before that we could do the same thing for you in a more effective manner? Because we don't know what the new normal is going to be, right?
Mm-hmm.
We know that half of us are going to, roughly half, let's just call it that way, 2 camps, never want to do anything online again, want to do everything online from here on out, right? How are you going to be positioned to help and support customers that are from both of those camps in the future?
Yeah, a couple of things that I can relate to. I think that with my client base, for some of them, it is like this is a tremendous time to engage in that strategic planning. Things are shut down, particularly with some venture-backed companies where there's cash in the bank. They can't operate, but the cash is there, and so they know they will operate when they can return to some sense of normalcy or pivot to whatever comes next. And so they have kind of a rare opportunity for the management team to actually have the time to, since they can't operate, they may as well like sit
Yeah.
down and like really do some of that more deep strategic planning, and not only in the context of what might be different coming out of this crisis, but also projects they've had on the back burner that they just
Yeah.
haven't had time to look at.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're also encouraging people to do some scenario planning. So what if we're back in a month? What if we're back in 3 months? What if we're back in 6 months? That whatever those plans are, roadmap them so that you can be looking at metrics and know when to pull what trigger, so that you're not, turning on sales teams when we're not there yet, right? But also not that people are calling and there's no sales team, right? So you need some guideposts that say, when I see this is happening, then I'm going to do that.
Yeah, you were talking about that kind of opportunity for strategic thinking. We've been encouraging the companies that we work with and our students who are working at organizations to kind of think about it like a virtual grand reopening. What does that look like, and when, and how do you position yourself to very quickly get traction and momentum when that happens? And it's not going to be kind of a light switch where all of a sudden the economy's back on and everybody's going out to restaurants and going to sporting events, et cetera. It's going to be rolling over time. So when that is for your organization and how you engage with your stakeholders, which is why we are encouraging more of a virtual grand reopening as opposed to a physical one. Yeah, we're going to have a party and everybody over, because that unfortunately is probably unlikely. But I think that kind of mindset of it's an opportunity to reboot and come out stronger, leaner, and faster. What does that look like, and how do we hit the ground running?
I love that. Yeah, the virtual grand reopening. I mean, I thought about it in my own business, in my consulting practice, where we did a lot of stuff virtually anyway. And the challenge for us has been, well, let's not take that for granted. What is it? Because it would be very easy to just kind of slip into, well, we already have the tools, we already been doing it. Let's just kind of do things the same way we would have done before, somewhat virtually. And so really trying to challenge ourselves to rethink, okay, what does our business look like? Does our business look any different in these circumstances? And what does that look like going forward? And how can we make a deal out? How can we make something out of that to get some attention as well? Yeah.
It might even be value added, right? That is chargeable for. So your value proposition could change depending on how you package that up.
Yeah, right.